This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. For more information, visit our website, NCARC.net. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Good evening, this is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo Net Control for this evening's NCARC Tech Net. Looking for check-ins. Anyone wanting to check into tonight's Tech Net, please call now.
Delta Zero, Yankee Oscar Papa, Scott, mobile in Fort Collins.
KE0 RXF, KE0 ELK, KE0 YOP. Thank you for checking in. Anyone else want to check into tonight's Tech Net, please call now.
Whiskey 2, Mike, India, Charlie, Mark, Loveland, one announcement.
KE0YMJ and W2MIC, Mark. You want to go for your announcement now or wait till get more check-ins, Mark?
Let's wait. I'm announcing the suspension of ham radio lunch.
Okay, sounds good. I figured that would be coming, but thank you for checking in. Anyone else want to check in? Please call now. Okay, we had a double there. N0YLS, Mike, you had one. I believe the other station was the suffix was YYU. Please come again.
KE0YYU, Johnson Loveland.
Okay, got you in there that time, KE0YYU. This is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo Net Control for this evening's Tech Net. Looking for check-ins. Anyone wanting to check into tonight's Tech Net, please call now.
K0LEA, Troy in Fort Collins. N0EMP, Greg in Fort Collins with Debbie, K0DBE. AE0CF, Ben, Fort Collins. AE0 India Hotel, Mike in Fort Collins. K1DEG on the HT in Platteville.
Okay, hold up there a second. KE0LEA, N0EMP, K0DBE, AE0CF, K1DEG. There was a double in there with Ben. I believe the suffix ended with IH. Can you please call again? I got you in there that time, Mike. Anyone else want to check in? Please call now.
WIQ.
Hey, good evening, Carrie. Got you in there. Anyone else want to check in?
KE0DMK, Shane in Fort Collins.
I got you in there, Shane K0DMK. And you first started out, you did have a severe echo in your mic. Not sure if you had another radio in the background or what was going on, but just wanted to let you know about that. This is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo Net Control for this evening's NCARC Tech Net. Do one more round of check-ins. Anyone wanting to check into tonight's Tech Net, please call now.
AI 7 p.m. Phil.
Hey, good evening, Phil. Thank you for checking in. We'll start moving along. We will take check-ins anytime during the net for anyone that wants to check in or just has a question or comment. Start off with W2MIC. Mark had an announcement. You want to go ahead, Mark?
W2MIC, as many of you know, we hold a ham radio get-together every other week. It would have been this week, this coming Wednesday. However, Colorado Governor Polis has announced that restaurants are closed and gatherings of more than 10 people, which we routinely have, are banned, and distances must be kept to 6 feet between people. As a result, we have suspended the ham radio lunch until further notice. Translation, after the governor lifts these restrictions. Very sorry about that. Back to net.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mark. One quick question about that. Are we going to keep just essentially the same rotating 2-week schedule, as in the lunch would be, I believe it was this week, and then 2 weeks from now, and then 2 weeks from that, or going to reset the date once they announce that we're allowed to have them again?
The former, we're going to keep the schedule that we have, which would have been this Wednesday, and then 2 weeks from this Wednesday, etc. And I will be on Old the Nets announcing when we are able to turn the lunch back on.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that now, as I know myself, probably along with many others, have it set in their calendar on their phone to remind us every 2 weeks. So I don't have to change anything on that. Just pay attention for when it starts back up again.
Yes, indeed. I know lots of people, including me, have it set on their calendar for every other week, so we'll just leave it on that schedule until we can re-enable. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Hey, anyone have any questions they would like to ask the net? Please call now.
Zero YYU.
KE0YYU, go ahead.
I was just kind of scanning the frequencies on my HT a little while back, and I picked up a conversation, a very brief, quick conversation on what I think was a marine frequency, 160.925. I heard like a call and response, and they were talking in some kind of code. They weren't really speaking a lot of words that were understandable. Any thoughts on, was that a couple of military aircraft maybe? Didn't last longer than 15 seconds.
I would have to look to see who that frequency is registered to. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, I know it's in the business class band. It's not marine mobile. I think it's one of the Mountain Rescue Association simplex frequencies, which you can hear quite often down here, especially if they are up around the Kingston Peak area, and that their signal travels quite the distance when they're up at 12,000 feet. I know they did have some search and rescue operations up that way a few days ago and last week, and that they're up there just about every day. If you scan through their frequencies, you can usually pick them up.
This was a series of numbers, and they would transmit the numbers, and then it would be repeated back. It didn't last but 15 seconds or so. Just kind of curious if anybody had any insight to it. It's kind of neat. YYU, back to net.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, it could have been a number of different organizations that use them frequencies. I know the Colorado Avalanche Information Center and places like that also use them frequencies. That they could have been up just relaying numbers from their stations and for avalanche awareness and mitigation and stuff like that. So that would be my guess without digging too much into it. Anyone else have any comments they would like to share about it?
This is KE0ZMK commenting. Was that on Saturday?
YYU, negative. It was probably a pretty solid month ago.
Whenever I'm in my truck, a lot of times I'll tune to 146.520 just to listen. And on Saturday, I was really getting some distances listening. I was listening to a guy in Golden talking to an astronomer in Strasbourg, and neither of them were transmitting over 50 watts. And then on Friday, I talked on the same frequency to a guy in South Denver, and he said, and I was in none, and he said he could hear me great, and he was only transmitting 3 watts. So I'm not sure if maybe those days we got lucky on ducting or what.
We're doing some kind of signal testing or something.
Yeah, I guess it was their most likely relaying information, testing different areas and that, which has been going on a lot lately. Thank you for that. Anyone else have any questions or comments for the net? Please call now.
Go on, DEG comment.
DEG, Platteville Mike, go ahead.
Well, the fella that was talking about hearing somebody from the Denver area up this way on Simplex, in my opinion, that's not too unusual. On, I think it's 146550, I can hear Denver communications going on down there quite a lot here in Platteville, so I don't think that's too unusual, but none is a little bit further up the road.
Yeah, definitely. That's the good thing about out in the plains areas and down to Denver. You start getting out towards 85 and that, you're uphill a little bit, and Denver can be uphill too, but you can get quite the distance out that way.
Yeah, comment W0LUV. After all, you can work the ISS with nothing but your HT and nothing but the rubber duck on it, W0LED.
Yeah, definitely. That's always fun to do also. This is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo, net control for this evening's NCARC Tech Net. Do we have any other questions or comments for the net before we move on?
8E0 India Hotel with a question.
AE0IH, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm building my first HF rig. It's a QRP Labs 40-meter single-band QCX CW transceiver, and it's my first experience with HF. I'm looking for a simple, cost-effective antenna that's going to help maximum range for CX. Some ideas for me? Thank you.
One DEG question.
DEG.
Well, my question for you about looking for that antenna, are you looking for cheap? Or are you looking for the best possible that you can get? No, money's not an option kind of thing.
AE0IH, yeah, money is a little bit of a concern. I'm a retired guy, so I don't want to go hog wild. The kit itself was only $50. It's 5 watts, and so I'd like to kind of not go totally crazy with the antenna.
Well, I'll say this, and I'll step away for anybody else to throw in information. In my opinion, if you have the room, throw up you a wire. It's really cheap, and it really works well.
WIQ, Carrie, go ahead.
Kind of boils down to, do you want to buy something ready-made or want to build something for yourself? And you can buy a spool of wire for about $20, some copper wire, and you can string that out also, but it's one of those things. People like dot holes, and you can also use a signal pole antenna also made out of wire. So it's just one of those things. You just have to study a little bit about antenna building. So anyway, back to that.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, if you have the room, the full wavelength wire is definitely going to be optimal, especially running QRP radios. If you don't have the room, doing a little bit of reading and building an antenna is very inexpensive overall. I know for my personal use for mobile, not really mobile, but portable type operations, I use a multi-band vertical antenna made by Chameleon that is, for my experience so far, is very effective, low power, usually running under 25 watts. I can get coast to coast. If I run 100 watts, I can definitely get DX stations. I've gotten as far away as into Italy, Germany, down into South Africa and the Canary Islands and that. It's pretty much, if you want, you build one for under $50, or you can buy one and spend some. I know the Chameleon antennas, you can get their hybrid mini, which is a 60-foot multi-band wire that can be set up in multiple different configurations, whether it's NVIS, sloping wire, dipole setup, anything. It's end-fed and covers 6 meter through 160 meter. What you do, have a compromised antenna, so you do have power reduction. So definitely something to look at for QRP. You don't want too much of a loss in your antenna to where if you're only putting out 10 watts of power after your reduction from an antenna, you're only running 5 watts or less. Definitely something to think about.
E0 India Hotel, thank you everybody. Back to net.
WIQ with another comment.
Carrie, go ahead.
There are antenna books, more than one antenna book. The ARL has an antenna book. And then there's other antenna books that aren't just for ARL. I have one that says that you can give the book to a secretary and have her build an antenna also. So I'm just making a comment there.
Yeah, definitely. The ARL antenna book is definitely a good resource if you have it or want to get one. They're definitely worth it, in my opinion. It explains a lot of differences between antenna matching and everything else. That kind of brings into a question I was going to bring to the net is, with everything being on pretty much lockdown and not really being able to go anywhere or do much with the social distancing, I went and picked up stuff to where I could put up a couple masts in the backyard to put an antenna up. I know I got enough material to where I could put up, was thinking either putting up a dipole, a wire dipole antenna. I have enough material where I could do two 25 to 30 foot masts and run a horizontal wire, or I could do a single 40 foot and run an inverted V. Wanted to see what people's opinions and thoughts were on the difference between the two, what would be more effective, and what they would prefer to run, a single mast or put up two masts and run a horizontal wire. K1DEG, Mike, go ahead.
Well, going to the other fellow's questions and to add to yours, I am nowhere close to being an expert on the antennas, but there's quite a few people on this particular repeater that will be willing to help anybody that wants to advance their knowledge and experience and yada yada yada. I'll say that for a few of the co-repeater occupants. And I use 2 poles, but I'm also got it stringed over 2 trees, and it's roughly, I can't remember the exact measurements now, somewhere like 260 feet on each side of the feed point, and I can get quite a bit of distance out of it, but you have to have that much room.
Yeah, definitely. I know for my personal one in question is I have about, my backyard is about 100 foot from side to side and only have about 45 foot from the front to back. And so there's no way I could run a full loop antenna. I know for me, I'm looking at just doing something that would allow me to run 20 meter and 40 meter efficiently. I know I'm going to have some loss in it because I'm going to have to run a balun on it, so it's not going to be a perfect match, but something other than a multi-band, it'll be less of a loss, which is what I'm looking at, and just simply something to do and work on while there's not much else to do, and something that's a little bit cheaper and than just buying an antenna.
W0LV comment.
LEV, go ahead.
Yeah, for a first antenna or first band, 40 meters is a good start. You can't beat a half-wave dipole. 33 feet on each side, roughly, fed with, that's low power RG58. Put some kind of a balun, heaven forbid not a transformer, current balun, or a common mode choke at the feed point. You really can't beat that for simplicity and performance. Yeah, there are things that perform better, but at HF they get a little immediate environment dependent. Put up a half-wave dipole, doesn't have to be horizontal, inverted V works fine. Very simple, and you can build it inexpensively, and you'll learn plenty. W0LEV.
That's pretty much what I have. I'm just bigger, quite a bit bigger.
N0 EMP.
N0 EMP, Greg, go ahead.
Unless you're getting upwards of half a wavelength above ground level, you're probably really not going to notice a difference between a flat horizontal dipole, which would need 2 or 3 supports, or an inverted V. They're probably going to work about the same. Something you can do with dipoles or inverted Vs is if one of them is working at about twice the frequency of the other one, you can connect 2 of them together at the feed point, and the RF will go where it needs to go on each band. So you could put it, with the size of your lot, you could put up an inverted V for 40 meters, and at the same point have a 20-meter inverted V going crossways to it. So if your, for instance, if your 40-meter inverted V is strung east-west, you could string a 20-meter inverted V north-south and have one feed line. There's gonna be a little interaction between them, and you'll have to do some trimming to the lengths of the forelegs to get it reasonably resonant on both bands. But your four antenna wires coming down can also act as guy lines. That's one of my favorite field antennas, and 0 EMP.
Yeah, definitely something I'm looking at. I know it'd be essentially be more if I did the inverted V. The one would end up being kind of a northwest southeast configuration. The other one would be southwest northeast configuration. So they would be offset from each other. Not quite as much as going completely 90-degree rotation on them, just because of the shape of the lot and buildings and trees and that, but would definitely get them spread out as far as possible.
Yeah, that'll work fine. Just get them, like I said, spread out. You know, ideally 90 degrees, but if they're only 45 degrees apart or 60 degrees apart, that'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. They'd probably be close to about 60 degrees apart, just because of the constraints in my yard. Kind of wish I had a bigger lot to play with, but I don't. Eventually I will. But yeah, it's just something to play around with when there's not much to do. Get outside to do something. I know that's one thing that got me thinking between the horizontal dipole or the inverted V. At least with the inverted V, I can get the feed point up for around 35, 40, 45 feet, depending on how good it gets anchored, but it'll get me up close to twice the height as if I run the horizontal.
That same antenna will tune up on 10 meters, even though we really don't have any 10-meter action going on right now, and 6 meters.
Yeah, definitely. I know. Well, I did get lucky the other morning and did get a couple contacts on 10 meter playing around. And so it's definitely better than I've seen in the past, but they were fairly close in contacts. The furthest one was down in New Mexico area, so it wasn't extremely far, but I was still surprised to be able to hear something and get out on 10 meter at the same time. This is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo Net Control for this evening's NCARC Tech Net. If we have any other additional questions or comments for the net, please call now. Hey, we had a double there. I was not able to get anything out of there, so someone try again.
0 WIQ.
Hey, WIQ Carrie, go ahead.
Thing about cutting a 40-meter dipole. If you have a 30-foot pole to put up this feed center point and have it there, but a 40-meter dipole is also could be done 80 meters, but it'd be a little bit sharply tuned for that. And you could go to 20 meters and get the same dipole and use that to a broader band on it and all that kind of stuff. But that's something to think about also if you're limited for space and you can only put up one antenna. The 40-meter dipole is a good choice because it can be used in a lot of places just because it is a 40-meter dipole and most of the bands are harmonics of each other, so 40 meters, 20 meters, 10 meters, all that kind of stuff. It just depends on the room that you have and what you want to put up. So, but the 40-meter dipole is a good choice.
Yeah, definitely 40 meter is the optimal band, at least in my opinion right now. I mean, it's pretty active during the day and at night and usable in this area, so that's a definite benefit. You're not stuck to only being able to operate in certain times of the day. If you're stuck to 20 meter only, it seems to only be halfway decent during the day, but at night you're lucky to get anything on it. So that's definitely something. Doubling station. Yeah, go again.
Kilo Zero Lima Echo Alpha.
KE0LEA, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Troy in Fort Collins. I had a question about the D-Star repeater that I think is at CSU. I was wondering if anybody has had any luck connecting to that repeater. I have it configured and everything correctly, but when I try and connect to it, it acts like it's receiving a very low signal from me, which is kind of surprising because I have basically line of sight to it.
Personally, the repeater itself, I don't use D-Star, so I'm not too familiar with it. I know if there is the D-Star repeater at CSU, I know for a while most of their antennas and stuff is on top of one building, and they were blocked out from getting access to it because of snow on the roof for quite a while. And then with the shutdown and everything else there, I doubt they'll be doing much work to any of the repeaters or antennas at CSU for a while. I don't know if that helps or if anyone else has any comments in regards to it.
WIQ again. I do D-Star, so it's one of those things that I use a hotspot in my home, so I can go with that, and that makes it easier because having to go to a repeater, you have to have enough power, enough battery antenna, things like that to get to the repeater. And so I use a hotspot because I just got started in D-Star using a hotspot because I didn't have an antenna on the first D-Star radio I had. So, such is life. Back to net.
Okay. Yeah, this is Troy again. I use a hotspot at home as well. I was just wondering if it's maybe something that I'm doing incorrectly or if it's something with the repeater, and I suspect that it's something with the repeater, so I may try to drive closer to CSU where the antenna's at and try it from there and see if it's just a distance thing or I'll just be patient. So, okay, cool. Thanks. Back to net.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for the question. Anyone else have any questions or comments for the net? Please call now.
W0ASP with a check-in and a question.
W0ASP, go ahead.
Wondering if anybody has been experiencing any drastic internet slowdowns in the last couple of weeks. now that everybody's trying to work from home.
MIC.
W2MIC, Mark.
Terry, yes, I've been monitoring this. I supposedly have a 100 megabit Comcast connection. I'm getting a third of that at best.
Yeah, Mark, that's kind of been my experience too. The communications has definitely slowed down. W0ASP.
Yeah, I will add to that. I got the 1 gig commercial service, and I've been checking daily because of reduced speeds, and I'm lucky to get 600 to 650 meg out of 1 gig commercial service. So it's definitely slowed down because of all the increased traffic.
Would think that this would apply to all these digital hotspots as well, would it not?
Yes, I know the Comcast digital hotspots and all of that are run off of homeowners' Wi-Fi routers, which mine, I had to shut mine off because it reduced my speed so much, and I do a lot of file transfers online and that, and it was what would normally take me 15-20 minutes to transfer started taking me 2 to 3 hours, and I couldn't deal with it any longer.
Yeah, well, I've got my wife and myself trying to work from home, and then all the kids are trying to do some kind of remote schooling, and it gets pretty slow once everybody gets online.
Yeah, definitely. I know one thing I did to increase the speed capability on the important computers, such as my desktop, away from phones and stuff like that, is I ended up buying a second modem where I could control the upload and download speeds for each device that is connected, and just set their default is the I want to say 1 gig for the router I have, even though I have the 1 gig service, but that's default setting. But I set like cell phones and stuff like that that are connected back down to between 5 and 10 meg service, and just so I could keep the service increased on the computers that needed it more.
Interesting. The trick we used here is to have the kids use their cell phones as hotspots for their computers and push all the traffic over to the cell phone traffic network.
Yeah, that is definitely another option for those that have the capability to. And there's a lot of different things to help it, but there is definitely a decrease in internet speeds recently, which hopefully doesn't last too much longer for everyone out there, just to get back to a normal life again.
After that, thank you. W0ASP. Clear. Back to net.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Anyone else have any questions or comments for the net? Please call now. Yeah, it sounded like someone was in there, keyed up the repeater, but did not transmit anything. I don't know if it was just a quick key or someone accidentally bumped the button. Try again.
Could have been me, K0YYU. I did a quick antenna swap.
Okay, yeah, good possibility. Right. Thank you. One last round. Any questions or comments for the net? Please call now.
NCARC about networking. I have a comment.
WIQ, Carrie, go ahead.
I have a local area network that runs on my house. And it was started with Cat 5 cable, and then I started having RF problems between the network and other things I was running. So I've gone clear up the Cat 8 cable for myself to keep the RF down as far as the network and other things I use. So I just thought I'd make that comment. Got a Cat 8 with a double shielded cable. And it cut down a lot on RF interference around here, so I just thought I'd make that comment.
Yeah, definitely with local area networks and that. Cables definitely can cause quite a bit of RF interference. I know personally I have all of the Cat 7 or better for anything that runs on the Cat or on Ethernet, and also run the toroid cores on every cable to reduce it. So I'm fairly good, but it's definitely something to think about. Thank you for that. Anyone else? Please call now.
Man, and a question.
Hey, didn't catch a call sign, but had a question. Go ahead.
K0YYU. Just a last little footnote of the fellow there that's having throughput issues. Some of that could be switching throughput. When you have kind of a home office type of switch behind your modem, there's lower throughput than a high-end layer 2 or layer 3 network switch. So some of it could be that. I also had a question about testing, studying for the general license. Just wondering if anybody knows, is testing kind of suspended for a little while, or if anybody's heard anything about it.
Yeah, I know all of the VECs in Colorado have pretty much suspended testing. Can't really have it anywhere. I know there is one VE team out of Denver, the Patriot VE. They are working with Laurel to come out with some pilot type testing in case this does last longer, to where they can find a facility and do have the 3 VEs in the room and then 6 people taking a test, and then rotate out during the day. When the 6 people are done, then another 6 people can come in to take the test. All computer-based testing, to where it eliminates the paper transfer. The only paper that would be transferred is your certificate of completion for the test, and that would be it. Everything else would be computer-based, so you would have to have a laptop to take your own laptop to take the test. But that's all stuff that's being worked on currently, which hopefully they get figured out shortly. Anyone else have any comments?
wondering about that, and wondering if we were going to go to some kind of online method or something of that nature. Thanks very much. K0YYU, back to net.
Yeah, it won't. It wouldn't be going online as far as being able to test and that, other than doing computer-based testing. There's only one state that allows remote testing, and that's Alaska, just because of the distance that people live away from areas. There's nowhere in the lower 48 that allow it. The computer-based testing is something that Laurel VEC has been working on, and Patriot VE team was granted access for the pilot program for it, which they were supposed to start this month, which fell through, so they're still trying to work on details to get the capability of doing that in a reduced setting. You can just Google the Patriot VE team. They have a Facebook page and a website and that, where you can get more information, and they're updating on when that will be available and that. But definitely something I know a lot of the VE teams around the state are trying to work on ways to still be able to do testing and that, especially if this goes on much longer. A lot of people want to take the test and upgrade, and new people want to get their license that have test date scheduled. But thank you for that. Anyone else, please call now. Hey, this is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo, net control for this evening's NCARC Tech Net. I'd like to thank everyone for checking in and contributing to the topics of discussion. I remind everyone, Wednesday evening at 6:30 is the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club Net, with early check-in starting at 6 p.m. Look forward to hearing from everyone again next week, and hope everyone has a good, safe week ahead of them. And this is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo 73. Hope everyone has a good evening, and the repeater is now open for general use.